think it's all about the bass, about the bass, about the bass. Go treble.
Sing that again.
No. That's what I love about Queen. I mean, it's just those four guys going at it. 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 Lead guitar, bass, and drum, and like little keyboard. You keep adding too much to it, you just muddy up the water. Is my book. I like it simple. Little keyboard. Four guys going at it. Four guys going at it. Four guys going at it. I'm doing a good point today. Four guys going at it. Four guys going at it. Four guys going at it. Four guys going at it.
You paid $2.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Love you, Big Al.
I love you too. I enjoy four guys going at it.
Oh, that'll never get old. Never, Al. I'm sorry. I actually wasn't going to show that tonight. I was going to show the Consume Stories Responsibly, but I saw your comment saying, because commenting on the three of us as Kiss. You're like, so we're just three guys going at it. So you asked for that. Welcome, everybody, back to the Office Hours live stream. I'm Professor Geek. Good to see everyone. See, we have Ghost Planet Max Inc. popping in. Nathaniel's Lowesball, Studio Super, good to see you back. Yeah, it's been a little while. Private Eye in Retrospectiva. Samuel Proctor. Samuel, I meant to email you back. I got your email about the all those books you saw in the classic bookshop. That was really cool. Appreciate you sending that. Let's see, Rydia Merchant, who I believe that's the same. That's Electric Barbarella, right? Did you get a new name there? Great to see you there. Big Al popping in, of course, like I said. And Jason Takes Middle Earth. Still love that name. The Imaginative Hobbyist. Welcome, welcome. Malwinus, Cyrano, Crystal Ashes. Good to see you. Oh, wow. Thank you, Darth Enigma. $20 super chat. Appreciate that. Said, hey, did you guys miss me? Of course you did. Always, Darth Enigma. Always. Really appreciate that super chat. Thank you. Right out the gate. Yeah, kiss and make up. That's the joke from the Paul Lynde Halloween special, right? That's when I first heard it. I still watch that every year. Paul Lynde is doing his Halloween special, and Margaret Hamilton is on there in her full Wicked Witch of the West getup, and she's introducing him to her four friends. This is Paul, Gene, Ace, and Chris, and of course Paul Lynde's like, I know how you got your name. You got to a fight, and your mother said kiss and make up. That's my Paul Lynde impersonation. All right, welcome. I don't have anything big to talk about tonight. I do have some things I'll talk about, but I was doing the going through the Hammer horror things this year, and I loved it. I was having such fun with it. But after a while, I got to the point where it's like, oh crap, I need to make sure I've watched, or I've watched/rewatched, depending on the case, the next little batch of films so I can, talk about them that week and everything. And it got to be where it was like I was rushing, and I thought, I don't want to spend the last 2 weeks before Halloween kind of making myself rush through some films that I enjoy, but I just wanted to kind of take it easy. So I started just, kind of stepping back and just watching things that I wanted to watch. And we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But yeah, I kind of started watching, here it is. Just movies that felt like Halloween to me from growing up and stuff. So we'll talk about some of that in a second. But I do have another super chat here. Scroll up and get it there. From the Imaginative Hobbyist, thank you so much for the $5. He said Johnny Depp and Willem Dafoe are to play Scrooge in 2 new films of A Christmas Carol. Which performance are you interested in most? Well, both, because of I just like Johnny Depp and anything he's done, really. I just always like his movies. Willem Dafoe feels like more of a Scrooge. That's going to be fun to see. It's kind of hard to imagine Johnny Depp as Scrooge, but I know he'll pull it off. He pulls off the movies that I've seen him in. So yeah, that's I didn't know about Willem Dafoe actually, but I knew about Johnny Depp. But yeah, I'm still looking forward to that comic book that Johnny Depp is a part of, where he's Mr. Hyde. It's like a sequel to The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They announced it at like Comic-Con this past year or something like that. I forget all the details, but it's supposed to be in the making or coming. So I'm looking forward to that. Darth Enigma for $5. Thank you so much. Said I'm making up for all the streams I missed. Also, happy belated anniversary. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Appreciate the super chats and the happy anniversary. Yeah, Sound Engraver and I had a great anniversary last week. Went to some historical sites and everything, and that was nice. We're such homebodies that we rarely ever go out. Like if we have a date night, it's usually here. We get food and bring it here and watch stuff or whatever, or game and everything like that. So it was good to go out and go to a restaurant. I think it was probably only maybe like the third restaurant we've gone out to and sat down inside and eaten in, since we've met. Because when we first started dating, it was during the COVID, and that was everything was closed anyway, and then we're such homebodies, we just got kind of used to that. So anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Miss Raina said, Frisky, why do you hate K-pop Demon Hunters? All right, here's the thing. I have never seen K-pop Demon Hunters. I saw the trailer. I read the synopsis. I hear everybody talking about it incessantly. So a lot of people were saying that they wanted me to do like a deep analysis of it. And I appreciate anybody wanting my take on something, but that's just not going to happen. I don't care about it enough to watch it. My post was K-pop Demon Hunters is dumb. I said, not sorry. And I do feel like that. I feel like it's dumb. I get it if you're a woman and you like it. Because let's be honest, it's really marketed to little girls. What I really don't understand is dudes, like men, who are super into K-pop Demon Hunters. I mean, did you get tired of watching My Little Pony? Did you need something? I mean, did you get tired of singing the songs from the Frozen soundtrack, so you need something else to do? It's so clearly marketed to young girls. It's just yet another one of these stories about the woman who has to realize that she's good just the way she is, and she just has to be herself and demand to be loved for who she is. I utterly despise that kind of storytelling. I hate that trope, and it's fine for some young girl stuff, it's whatever. Why are men into K-pop Demon Hunters? In all of the arguments I've heard, oh, but you don't understand, it's got these Christian overtones, and it's all these intricacies, and with the Korean mythology. I don't give a crap. It's stupid. It looks so dumb. Watch it if you want, but I'm going to laugh at you for it. If you're a man anyway. I really, it really does strike me as part of this like a feminization of young men in our culture today. And I just see it everywhere. I see it in on all aspects. I even see it physically, and I don't know the specifics of this. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I do think that perhaps a lot of the foods that men are eating are chemicals they're being made to take in some which way or another. I mean, I think studies have shown that they've generally decreased testosterone levels in men over the generations. You compare testosterone levels like, today to men in previous generations. And I just see this effeminization, like these young men are walking around with like these soft hips and just this like almost these feminine walks. And I'm talking about straight guys, are people who would, at least say they're straight. I just, but that's just that. And then the culture, the stuff that they're into. And I don't understand what's so great about the music. I see Miss Rena saying the music is good and the characters are interesting and likable. I mean, your name is Miss Raina, so I'm assuming that you are a woman. And that, again, that makes perfect sense if you're a woman and you're into this. I don't like the music. I think the music is very indicative of today's music. I think it's kind of soulless a little bit. But this is just me as a guy looking at something going, that looks dumb. I'm not watching it and doing a review. I'm not, and I'm not tearing it down and all this kind of stuff. I just think it looks stupid, and I don't know why men are into this. I really don't. Um, that just it's very disturbing to me that, and I'm not even talking about men into it like maybe some dads, their kids have it on and they're like, oh, whatever, it's fine. That's one thing. I'm talking about the men who are like, K-pop Demon Hunters is amazing. They've got it like on their Facebook profile for, cover photos and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, God, come on, spend some time saving up for the next Brony con. Stop it. It's just really embarrassing yourself. But yeah, so I'm not coming out in a crusade. I'm not against K-pop Demon Hunters like I'm against, James Gunn's Superman. But it looks dumb to me, and I spoke up about it because I'm like, why aren't more people speaking up about how dumb this looks? And again, if you like it, it doesn't look dumb to you. Great, good. But man, if you're a dude liking this, I mean, like really liking it, do a little self reflection, man. Come on, it's just weird. But that's me. But thank you for bringing it up, Miss Rena, because I actually was going to talk about that. You gave me an in there. Studio Super for $9.99. So I'm not really a Dracula guy or horror guy in general, but I will say out of all of them, I lean more towards Hammer Dracula. Hammer Dracula is great. Like I said, Christopher Lee. It's great stuff. I was really Hammer centric this season, whereas last centric in my viewing, I was very Universal centric. But it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. Hammer's not something that's my jam like all the time or anything. I do enjoy it, but it's not like my go-to, I look forward next year to branching out and kind of moving further into that. But yeah, and I never describe myself as a horror fan either. I like monster movies is what I always say. And I do think there's a difference. Boris Karloff himself said that he doesn't do horror films. He does, I think he said he does terror movies. He said horror is like, oh my gosh, look, there's blood, there's gore, there's a monster that, it's just like boom in your face, where he said terror is more subtle. Terror is like, the reveal of Frankenstein's creature, terror situations that provide that suspense and stuff like that. So yeah, I very much identify with that. No, I don't think I'd like Asian horror at all. Darth Enigma, not because I think it'd be bad, just because I'm not that much into horror. I've seen the English version of The Ring, but I know it was based on Ringu and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that would just be kind of off of my radar palette. But I've no doubt that a lot of it's probably good. But yeah, Jason, I've heard rave reviews of K-pop. It didn't make me want to watch it. Yeah, I'm just like, okay. And then of course there's going to be these people like, you, how can you say that? You never seen it. Blah, blah, blah. How can you say that? I can say if something looks stupid to me. I can say that. I can totally say that. Deal with it. Best case scenario, if I ever, and I won't because it looks dumb to me, but if I ever sat down and carved out a part of my precious time to sit down and watch something that looks dumb to me, like people think that I should do for some reason, the best case scenario will come out of it is like, oh, well, it's well done. Good for girls who like it. And that's it. And that's all it should be for any guy. That's the best case scenario. I just don't understand this. Anyway. Samuel Proctor says, I like the animation style of K-pop Demon Hunters. I didn't see the movie, just a music video, but man, did I get sick of K-pop fans in high school. They're almost as bad as Swifties. I didn't even know it was that it had been around that long. I thought it was something somewhat more recent. The animation style to me it looks too, or maybe you're talking about different things because there's character design and then there's animation style. It looks very CGI driven. It looks very computer animated. And just in terms of my taste, I'm not saying there's anything. I mean, there's an art to computer animation as long as you're not just using AI to create it all and passing it off as art. To my taste, I don't like stuff that looks too computer animated. Like Toy Story when it first came out, that was novel, right? And it was kind of cool. But I hated like when my daughter was really young and used to watch like Disney Channel or Disney Junior and stuff like that. that was the one style that like everything looks like now, and all of Disney's movies look like that now. It's like that Pixar animation just kind of took over and evolved into something that it solidified into. And I'm just no, that doesn't really strike my taste, you know. But anyway, uh, Sound Engraver is here with us. Sound Engraver was taking a nap. Didn't know if you'd be up in time, but great to have you, dear, my love. Men should not be singing golden. I guess that's one of the songs. I don't know. Yeah, Sound Engraver is a music teacher. She teaches piano, violin, and voice, and she said she's got a lot of course, girls are coming in. Can we listen to can we learn this song or that? But even some guys, I'm like, what's going on? I take issue with straight guys liking stuff that's marketed to girls. It's just a cultural thing. Like, it's not that every man has to like football and lifting heavy things and rah rah rah. I mean, I don't like sports, but if a guy's into like My Little Pony or something that's clearly marketed towards girls and like really into it, there's something wrong there. Yeah. I got a problem with brony culture and all that kind of stuff. And I think that a lot of things just kind of slip under the radar because they're anime. You know, there's this this sort of religious devotion to anime that I don't really understand. Um, I've watched some anime that I enjoy, but I refuse to give anything points off the board is because it's anime. You know, I've seen some crappy anime. I've seen some anime that I'm not going to look at because it just looks dumb. I don't know. Studio Super, good to see you here. Again, super chat there said, well, in terms of movies, I revisited Tron and Tron Legacy. Man, I forgot how much I loved Legacy. And looking at it, you could say it's cautionary tale against the woke. Yeah, I like Tron, obviously the original Tron and Tron Legacy I thought was good. I need to watch before Disney went completely off the crap board and just, you know, became a crap company of doing nothing but woke. They did a animated series for Tron Legacy that people had told me was good. I don't know. I haven't watched it, but it was an animated series that takes off, you know, after Tron Legacy, and I need to check that out. But check that out. But I've heard it's good. I don't know if it is, but yeah, those are some good stuff. It's a shame about the recent Tron movie. It's just like nope, pass. Let's see. Crystal Ashes, are you talking about they used AI to make the songs for the Tron or for K-pop Demon Hunters? You and Sound Engraver are talking about something, but it would not surprise me. Redia Merch said, speaking of Frankenstein, I have him and the bride of this year's haunt. Awesome. I've got to get used to that new name. I'm so used to Electric Barbarella, but that's cool. Good to see. Yeah, I've got our Halloween decorations up, which is nothing like yours, but you know, we've got stuff up for Alyssa. We carved pumpkins the other day, and each year, you know, you guys have seen, I've shared pictures of my jack-o'-lanterns before. I like to carve like characters. Like I've carved Alice Cooper, or I've done Skeletor, you know, Beastman, stuff like that. This year, I think she just got sick of my character. She just wanted a traditional jack-o'-lantern. She got just a face, just a face. So I carved just a face, but I made it stylized it a little bit. Let me see if I can pull it up here in a way that I can show you guys. Let's see. Yeah, this should be fun to do. Oops. Share it here for you. Stylized it a little bit anyway. Come on, StreamYard. There we go. So yeah, I gave it sort of the Jack Skellington eyes, and then I gave it some fangs. This fang is way bigger than the other one because there's a big piece of rot on the pumpkin there that I had to cut around. Freaking Harris Teeter. I bought it at Harris Teeter, and there was a sticker, you know, their little stickers that they put on all their pumpkins, saying, you know, jack-o'-lanterns, whatever. And they put the sticker on it, and I peeled the sticker off, and it was a big old thing of rot underneath the sticker. I was like, who did that? That's not cool. Not cool at all. But yeah, pretty good. Not bad for just a face jack-o'-lantern. Let's see. Ash Williams is a better demon hunter than K-pop demon hunters. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff they did with Ash. Like the series I never saw. And I think there's been a lot of comic books like Ash versus this or Ash. They were gonna do when they did Nightmare on Freddy versus Jason, which is a really fun movie actually. That was supposed to be the start of a series of movies, like versus movies. And I still don't know why people couldn't get their crap together to make that happen. I think it was a rights dispute or something like that. But the next one was supposed to, or one of them that anyway, was going to be Ash versus Freddy versus Jason or whatever. They were going to throw Michael Myers into the mix. That would have been so much more interesting to me than the stupid reboots they did. I never got into those reboots where they remade Nightmare on Elm Street or remade Friday the 13th or even Chainsaw Massacre. Just, nah, not really for me. Let's see. Oh, okay. Studio Super says by animation style, I mean the way they move. It's almost like stop motion, like Spider-Verse. Oh, that's right. Yeah, and you say someone said it's the same. Now, see, this right here does again speaks to me again, like why seriously wouldn't like it. But it's the same studio that did Spider-Verse. Who said that? Private Eye in Retrospectiva said that. Yeah, and I can't stand the Spider-Verse movies. Now that's not. There's nothing objectively wrong with that animation, the kind of flip book animation style. It's not for me. I don't really like it so much, but whatever. But I just didn't like Spider-Verse movies. I didn't like the guy behind it who was open Antifa, and I didn't like the message it made about Spider-Man or anything like that. So yeah, I just don't know anything. I thought it was a more recent ing, and I thought it maybe even was a Netflix original or something like that. So let's see. What else is going on here? You guys are chatting aloud, which is totally fine. Chatting to each other. Just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. Jason takes me. I've never been into anime. Oh, careful how you say that. They'll come for you. I've seen a couple of movies like Venus Wars and Big Wars, which are okay, but not much else. Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I've had to oh, there we go. I've had to stop talking about anime because man, weebs just can't control themselves. And if you give them an inch, they'll demand 3 miles. Have you watched this? Have you watched this? You really ought to watch this. Why didn't you like this? Okay, you've watched that, but you need to graduate from that now to this other level. And it's like, no, Prof doesn't watch anime. That's what I say. There are some that I've enjoyed, but I have a no anime talk rule around me now because it's just like, oh, shut up, people. Okay, Tron Uprising. Yeah, that was the animated show. Yeah, it's really good so far. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. I have heard Vampire Hunter is a classic. That's actually I don't even want to say this because I start saying, oh yeah, that's on my list to watch. And then people are like, you should watch this. You should put this on your list. But I have heard the same. Let's see. Radiant said you want Barbarella back. The name? What happened? Did the account go bad or something? Studio Super, thank you very much, sir. Said Legacy as a tale against woke. Look at its villain. He can't create new programs, just destroys or repurposes them. And then we look at our hero. He repurposed and go. Tron, what have you become? Yeah, that's a good. I never thought of it that way, but you're right. You're right. That was like and that was made like back in the last throes of Disney before they stopped putting out anything good, right? Because by the end of this past decade, Disney just became an evil company, which was about agenda and not story. And it's so funny to hear Bob Iger's little statements he can, occasionally puts out. He even said something. What was it about? What movie was it about? I think it was about the Fantastic Four or something like that. And he said things. Hollywood has just lost its freaking mind. I hear a lot of these people, whether they're CEOs or celebrities, say these things, and I'm like, you don't understand reality, do you? he was talking about how, a lot of and the Disney fans, are saying this, and one thing we will not tolerate is we will not tolerate our fans this and that. And I'm like, whoa, buddy, you shut your whore mouth. Your fans would give you a paycheck. So you tolerate anything your fans want to do, as long as they're still your fans. Like, I wouldn't call, I'm a classic Disney fan, but I'm not putting any money into Disney's coffers now, at least if I can help it. So I wouldn't even call myself a fan, but you don't dictate what your fans get to do and what they don't get to do. You shut up. Same thing. Like, I've heard, there's just a sense of entitlement in Hollywood. I do not understand it. I've heard a lot of celebrities, Stephen King has said this, Ariana Grande, they've and a lot of other people, I think, they say something to the effect of, they're caught up in a scandal in which they're losing fans. People are losing their, pulling their support from them. They're losing jobs or whatever. And I don't know how much Ariana Grande ever had to face this, but she made some really stupid comments before her next stupid Wicked movie came out. That was another thing. Like, why are men going to see Wicked? Shut up about that. But, they did this, they've come out and both have said in so many words, they're like, look, or like Stephen King, for example, I did this, and I apologize for the comment, and that doesn't give you the right to withdraw your support from me. Did you hear what you just said, dude? I have a right to withdraw support from you if I don't like the haircut you got. You're not entitled to anyone's support. You think you're lucky stars that you've got fans, and you do whatever you can to keep them. That's your bread and butter. That's what pays your paycheck. You don't get up here and pontificate to me about what my rights are as your fan. And this is my right to not support you, but I don't have a right to not support you here. They actually say these things. It's just, and they really do have this overblown sense of importance of what, Taylor Swift, this is what George Clooney was saying, just after the election. They truly do believe this. They say, look, there's a lot of information out there, and people should look to us as your public figures, because we're going to parse that information out and tell you what's really true. You are a dancing monkey. I put a coin in the box and you do a dance for me. That's the extent of our interactions. You are an entertainer. Get out of this stupid notion that you're there to, be a connoisseur and sift through and filter and edit the news for me and tell me what I should really believe. You're an actor. You're a singer. You're a human being entitled to your own opinions and politics of it. Fine. But where's this notion that I should sit up and take note when you talk about other things? It's so bizarre. Crystal Ashes says, so I take it you won't be carving any K-pop Demon Hunter themed jack-o'-lanterns this year. Nope. Not at all. Yeah, that story is just that setup, that character arc is so overdone. I'm like, why are people still falling into this? Where the main character doesn't have to improve, doesn't have to learn not to do this or better themselves in any way. They just have to learn and realize that they were already amazing as they are, and they just need to truly accept who they are. And it's other people around them that are making them feel not enough and blah blah. Like, that's just the feminist hero's journey, from the start. That's Frozen, that's Captain Marvel, that's Rey Skywalker. I mean, that's all of it. And maybe there's some more to whatever her name is in K-pop Demon Hunter's story, but that's a big part. At least that's how they're marketing it. That's a big part of her arc from everything that I've seen. And that just annoys the heck out of me as a viewer or as an audience member. The Match of Hobbyist said, a cool fan theory that connects all three is the Necronomicon of the Evil Dead played a role in Freddy and Jason's supernatural origins. That, who knows, that may have been something that they were going to tie together the movie when they were going to put them all three together. But I remember really enjoying, just this kind of dumb fun, the Freddy versus Jason, because I watched a lot of those movies growing up. It was just a fun thing to watch, a cool thing to watch or whatever. And I wouldn't say I was really a fan of them, but they're kind of cultural icons too. The monsters of Freddy and Jason and even Michael Myers are kind of a cultural symbol or icons when it comes to horror. I did like I thought Jason in space, Jason X was that was interesting. I also thought it was funny because I'm a big Andromeda fan, Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda, and you had Lexa Doog and what's the other girl's name? The blonde. They were in that movie, but their roles were switched. You know, where Lexa Doog plays the droid and the AI being in Andromeda, but it was the Becca's character was the droid in that one, so it was fun. Yeah. Jaden Johnson, don't talk about anime. uh, Samuel Partridge says Spider-Verse itself has soured on me. I loved it when it came out, but now I'm sick of Miles Morales and the concept of the Spider-Verse and the music. I don't like either, only animation of it. Yeah, I've never been a Miles Morales fan. He was interesting when he first came out as a Elseworlds, like a other universe Spider-Man. Okay, that's interesting. But he was clearly ushered in to the main universe because for diversity points, for diversity's sake. And I didn't see, I've never seen the real appeal of him. I think it muddies everything up. It's ridiculous having two characters with the same name in any universe. Even when DC did this for a time with when Rebirth came, I love the fact that they brought back Wally West. That was wonderful. But they just called him Flash and Barry Allen was Flash, and they were like both exist. I was like, no, you guys got to come up with a different name. I know there's already a Kid Flash there and everything. You can't just have two characters with the same name. That doesn't work. And there's no reason why Miles Morales, when he brought in, shouldn't have been Spider Boy or something like that. Oh, but that's gonna, you shut up. He's every bit of the character, and he's even more powerful than Peter Parker, and all this crap. I also didn't like the message of the Spider-Verse movie that anyone can be Spider-Man. You could be Spider-Man. No. A good hero story should tell us that anybody can be a hero. We can all be our own heroes, but there's a uniqueness. There's and the hero that we follow has to be unique, and they have to be only they could be that character. Only Peter Parker could be Spider-Man because it happened to Peter Parker. And we're talking hypotheticals. If something happened to one of us, to give us powers or whatever, then we'd be our own kind of hero. And that's the thing that's fun to think about. It's not that, anybody can be Spider-Man. We are all Spider-Man. Like, no, shut up. Let's see. Yes, Match of Hobby is talking about Batman The Revolution, the sequel to Batman Resurrection came out this week. Have you gotten I have. I started listening to it on Audible before the book even came, but now I've got the hard copy, so I can start reading it here too. So far it's good. I'm on chapter 12 thus far, and it's really fun and enjoyable thus far. I love the take on the Riddler, Norman Pincus, this character. It's a very different take than I've ever seen on the Riddler. It's he's kind of enjoyable to be around because Riddler is usually the sort of the insufferable narcissist, and maybe Norman Pincus will become that. But so far, it's kind of fascinating. I'm only on chapter 12 though, and I'm just so conditioned to be nervous about this kind of thing. And John Jackson Miller's never let me down with starting to throw a bunch of politics into his books or anything like that. But there is some themes of actual real fascism, in the book thus far, like dating back to like, the anti-fascist protests and whatnot during like the Red Scare and so forth. So there's some history about it. And if that's as far as it goes, that's fine. Plus, I'm sure this was written long before. I mean, he had to have it outlined long before, everything came about. I don't know. But there's even like an anti-terrorist militia, terrorists based. They're not anti-terrorists. They are terrorists. There's like an anti-government militia or a bunch of terrorists, or basically kind of like an Antifa type group in Gotham. Again, nothing's been done about that thus far that makes it politics seeping into the work or trying to make him make a political, statement or anything like that. I hope it doesn't go there. I hope it stays enjoyable, but so far it's great. And the cover's great too. Question everything. Yeah. I mean, that's a very Riddler thing. So, yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. I hope it's just as good as Resurrection, because I really enjoyed Resurrection. It wasn't that Resurrection was just an incredibly artistic and the best novel written. It just felt like truly stepping back into the Burtonverse and still spending time with these characters who were the characters as we remembered them. They were fun. We were having a good time. It's like, and it was so, a night and day difference between that and Sam Hamm's garbage comic books that were, let's just use these characters as a pedestal to preach some politics, and none of the characters even felt the same. It was I'll never understand what idiotic moment he had making him think that let's take Michael Keaton's Batman from the Burtonverse, a character that people love and respect and like to spend time with, and let's just make him a dumb rich white man who needs to be lectured by the minorities in the book. It's just stop it. Anyway, but I hope you're enjoying it too. Let's see. I haven't seen Trolls asking about the Roger Corman Poe films with Vincent Price and whatnot. I haven't seen them in a while. I saw a few of them back in the day because I'm a huge Poe fan and everything. And of course, they take a lot of liberties with that. They're not like straight from the stories. But yeah, yes, maybe I'll watch another one of those or two. I'll talk about what I've been watching here in a second. I just want to catch up with all the super chats and everything. Studio Super said, and continuing with my legacy thing, and the villain does this, trying to chase perfection. Repurposing things, not unable to create on their own, but repurposing other programs, trying to chase perfection. The thing about perfection is that it's unknowable, but it's right in front of us all the time. Yeah, I'll have to rewatch the movie with that way of thinking in mind. It's kind of like because I mean, they couldn't have written it about the woke because woke wasn't really woke wasn't really full blown yet. I don't think when that movie came out, but yeah. Imaginative Hobbyist, thank you very much. Said, imagine paying hundreds of dollars to see your favorite artist perform on stage, and they waste your time sharing their polarizing political stances. Yeah, like I don't care what a celebrity. In fact, if you are in the entertainment industry, I just almost assume that you have very liberal politics. I don't really care though. But could you imagine like being a Bruce Springsteen fan or something like that? And I've liked some of his songs in the past. I can't even listen to them now though, because they're all tainted with his belligerent messaging. But yeah, can you imagine like paying a ton of money to go see a Bruce Springsteen concert or whatever, and then suddenly he starts, preaching this super polarizing political, like I hate that bait and switch. If you have earned your platform, if you've earned your fans by doing X, that's why they come to see you. That's why you have fans, because they like how you do X. And then suddenly when they come to see you do X, you decide, now I'm doing Y, and here's, blah, blah, blah. That's a bait and switch. That's so disrespectful to the fans. I hate it. That's why I so respect artists like Alice Cooper or Sammy Hagar. I talk about them a lot because and even Aerosmith's never really gotten into politics that I know of, really. I mean, it's one thing to do causes or charities. That's fine, but polarizing politics, that's just, and I have no idea where Alice Cooper or Sammy Hagar really stand politically. I could kind of maybe guess one way or the other, but they've never done. I remember a few years ago, I think it was during Trump's first presidency. It was and it was like or maybe it was COVID had just hit, so maybe it was Biden. I don't know, but there was a real rapid anti-American, kind of feel in the culture and everything. And it was 4th of July. And Sammy Hagar came out, did a video waving the American flag. He goes, "Hey, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world right now. The flag still waves, baby." And like, that's encouraging because he didn't make a statement. You still don't know where he stands politics wise. He just said, "Hey, let's come together." Or even when when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he played this song, and it was I don't know, I had never heard the song. It's sounded like an old hippie song, but it was like, will we make it? What's going on? This or that, kind of thing. And even captioned, he said, "Not a statement, just a question," and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. As Alice Cooper has said, shut up and rock. He's even got a song on one of his albums called "Shut Up and Rock." No one wants to hear it. I know you think you've got an audience now, so now you need to say something, but no one wants to hear it. Shut up and rock. Tom Spiegel, good to see you there. Thanks for the super chat. Said, please never say Rey Skywalker again. Her name is Rey Palpatine. I am duly chastised. I agree completely. Studio Super says, Also watched National Treasures, the movies, for the first time. Can't believe I slept on that movie for so long. Yeah, I've never seen any past the first movie, but it was fun. I remember my parents just freaking loved it. But yeah, they did two. Did they do a third one? I don't know. Darth Enigma says, "Pop quiz," but it was so artistically done. These were the final words of Admiral Thrawn. I love that too. I love that. Sound Engraver doesn't. Sound Engraver, it's a testament to how much I love my dear Sound Engraver that she thinks Thrawn is a boring villain. Like, what are you talking about? Let's see. Yeah, you guys were bringing up. I see some people talking in the chat about James Gunn. It's wonderful to see that James Gunn might be over. Everything that people have been saying now, and people were trying to shout them down as though, no, shut up, that's just conspiracy theory, blah blah blah. You're just a Snyder, bro. No, it was true. He was originally given the keys to the kingdom at DC. He was in charge of the entirety of their DC everything. He was going to make the Batman Brave and the Bold. He was going forth with all these, new DC characters he was going to enlist. And then when Superman Legacy came out, I refuse to call it just Superman because it's not. That Superman is the classic Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve film. James Gunn doesn't get to come in and put his little stamp on it. And it's just like Snyder. He came in thinking, dude, I got this. Oh, this is going to be so famous. He was so smug about it, just as Snyder was. Thinking that this was going to be the greatest thing ever. And, and he was trying to put his name all over it and everything. And I don't know what he was smoking, thinking that his take on Superman was going to be well received because it was crap. And I don't care that it was a lighter touch than the horrible darkness we got from Snyder. Yeah, that's a good move towards the right direction, but not if you don't implement it correctly. And so, yeah, so after Superman Legacy ended up not doing as well, they tried to spin it as though it was doing huge, again, because they're looking towards selling one day, and they had to make sure that they puffed up and presented a good front, of like, everything we're doing is so popular now. But it didn't make nearly the amount of money. It did not even outsell Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, which is like, just from a bit, like, as a Superman fan, I don't care how well Zack Snyder films might have done, and they didn't do as good as they should have done. A Superman and a Batman movie together, a Justice League movie, these movies should have done incredibly big money. But even Man of Steel was incredibly divisive when it first came out. But it doesn't even matter to me as a Superman fan. I don't care how well they did. The reins should have been taken away from Zack Snyder because he was deconstructing the snot out of these great, beautiful, iconic characters. But let's just pretend that you're just looking at it from a business standpoint. It doesn't make sense to take the reins away from one director if the next director you call in can't even bring you in more money. Like, that's the whole point. From a executive's mind, they don't care about the characters. They don't care about how well the characters are being treated or how good the stories are. They don't give a crap about that. They give a crap about how much more money they can get. So yeah, from their perspective, if the new guy they bring in can't even outsell the old guy, and then suddenly you hear James Gunn talk about things differently. Well, yeah, my Superman saga is what I'm mainly interested in. He even said he wasn't going to do a Superman sequel. Superman was just the first stepping stone of his greater DC universe. And then suddenly he's just talking about his Superman sequel that he's going to do because he got demoted. He was quietly demoted behind the scenes. They didn't want to make a big deal out of it out front, but they did that because he just wasn't selling. And then with his whole stupid Peacemaker series, going off the deep end with his politics and his woke agenda and incredibly non-child friendly content in the Peacemaker series, which he said was vital and connected to the Superman movie. So this Superman movie that people are going to bring their kids to, and he's saying, hey, everybody, you need to go follow the Peacemaker series because that's continuing the story and it's going to be vital connective tissue. And then, you got, freaking orgies on screen, and all this kind of garbage stuff in the Peacemaker series. So yeah, he's done. And now that they're looking to sell, depending on who they sell to, it's very possible that they could say, yeah, we're not continuing with your stuff. Everything's up in the air at this point. It depends who they sell to. It depends what that person says. I would love it if that person said, yeah, we're just killing your sequel and everything. You're out of here. That might not happen. That's not how business people think because they're idiots and they don't care about the stories. But other people are speculating, Zack Snyder could come back, guys. Zack Snyder could come back. Please, God, no. Zack Snyder has no business being around these characters. I don't care that you didn't get a good follow-up movie that kind of wrapped it all up. I don't care. You didn't deserve one because those characters were crap. Everything you did was garbage. He mistreated and deconstructed those characters in an awful way. So yeah, now of course he's going to front, and that's what he does. He kind of trolls on Twitter and gets his little vocal minority very activated and stuff like that. But that would be a tragedy if they brought him back to do anything with these characters. But it's great to see that maybe James Gunn will be booted. Yeah, you're right. Creature Commandos was the start of it. I refused to watch that too because I knew how he was treating Superman. Creature Commandos was such a great comic back in the day. And again, he looks at the DC universe and he wants to call it gods and monsters. DC universe is iconic hope. It's not gods and monsters. I mean, from a perspective, someone looking into the universe and doesn't really understand the characters, yeah, that makes sense that they think that these characters are godlike in their powers and the villains are very monstrous or whatever. But then you actually listen to the stories or get to know the characters and read the comics and you realize, no, that's not the feel of these characters. That's not it at all. So yeah, good riddance to James Gunn. I can't wait until he's officially out of there. So arrogant, and just the audacity to think you can come in. Why does Warner Brothers? And I will say this too: whoever Warner Brothers sells to, I hope they just stop making DC movies. I don't think they will. I think they'll see too much money in like another Batman, Matt Reeves film or whatever. But I hope DC movies just peter out and we don't get any more. And I mean that. I would be content if we never received another DC movie because I've just lost faith in anybody being able to do it well. There are individuals out there that I think could do a good job, but no one will give it to them. And at this point, would it even matter if the right people got behind one? Like the character's been so deconstructed and so driven into the ground that I just think his space and culture needs time to heal. I think we need at least 20 years or so to just get that bad, probably more honestly, to get that bad taste out of our mouth. I don't want any more DC movies. I don't care. People ask me, well, what would you do if you were given the power? Like, who would you? I would say, I would kill it. I would say no more of that. Go make something new and original. But yeah, that's me. Yeah, I agree, Kal-El. I know you're talking to Leia plus size here, but the fact that he said he had to find a way to relate to the character in order to make the movie, it says all you need to know about him. Exactly. And his attitude towards Superman. And then what was his way of relating to the character? By giving him this real conflict with his birth parents and all of that. And like I've said before, I've said it a million times, James Gunn has daddy issues and he tries to put them into every movie he makes. Shut up. Get over it. It's not your place to go mold a cultural icon, a popular, beloved folkloric character of our culture. It's not your place to go mold him into what you think he should be. No, I don't want any auteurs touching a DC character. You think about Richard Donner when he first got the job, and we can look back on Richard Donner now, his body of work, and yeah, he's an amazing artist. But I don't even think you could still call Richard Donner an auteur. Because the auteur filmmaker has to put their fingerprints and their stamp and their signature clearly on everything. Like Nolan's an auteur filmmaker. He does one kind of movie. And it doesn't matter what the property is, he's going to make it the Nolan film. And if you like that, great. And if you don't, then you hate it. But Richard Donner, look at how varied his movies were. It's not that he didn't put a lot of himself into his movies. It's not that he wasn't an artist or that he didn't have, you can certainly see Donner touches in his movies, but he wasn't about taking a property or a material and molding it into the Donner view. No, he wasn't that at all. I mean, freaking The Omen, horror, Superman, beautiful, iconic superhero movie, The Goonies, something that's for kids, Lethal Weapon, buddy cop, adult films and so forth, not adult films, but you know what I mean, for grownups. I mean, he was able to do so many different kinds of things. That's the kind of director that you would need if you were going to get somebody to do another DC movie. Any of the characters, I don't care which ones. But for James Gunn to look at it and go, we need a Clayface movie. We don't. Clayface is a great character, don't get me wrong, but like that's what you looked into the DC universe and thought, we need Clayface. You know, just tells me again all I need to know about you. What was I going to talk about? Yeah, I said the Goonies, the children. I meant the Goonies when I said children's movies. Goonies are great. And speaking of Goonies, I have no interest whatsoever in this Goonies sequel that they're supposedly gonna make. I don't care about that. I don't care how many of the original actors come back. I was kind of not really burned, but I learned my lesson from Beetlejuice. And Beetlejuice wasn't a bad film, but it's really just showed me that there's no going back. Legacy sequels just, I mean, apparently it worked for a lot of people with Top Gun Maverick. I never saw Top Gun Maverick because Top Gun just wasn't all that big to me anyway. It's a great movie. I just was not a big fan. And I'm not going to go see a legacy sequel for a movie that I really didn't have such of a connection to in the first place anyway. There's plenty of other things I want to do with my time. But apparently that people say that worked, but I think it's really, really hard to do a legacy sequel any kind of justice. Even Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I liked, still wasn't as good as a proper Ghostbusters 3 shoulda, coulda been if they'd actually done it back in the day. You know, the video game is Ghostbusters 3 to me. You know, it's about the best it could be, but that's all, you know. All right. Well, that's true. As Jozo said, the Clayface movie has to come out because they're already filming it. They had already finished filming the Batgirl movie too, though. And they dropped that, canned that, and wrote it off as a tax write-off. So I don't think that's going to happen to the Clayface movie. I'm pretty sure the Clayface movie is going to come out. But you know, anything could happen. So yeah. Tom Spiegel said, "Promise I won't urge you to watch it, but I do want to stake that the Top Gun Maverick is a perfect movie." I don't disbelieve you. And I'm glad that you liked it. I'm glad that it was so good. I'm glad a lot of people like it. Because I've always kind of liked. I mean, Tom Cruise can be a nut job. You know, he can be but he's always, to me, he's always respected the fans, and I've liked some of his movies really quite a bit. But and I don't dislike Top Gun. It just never struck me as you know, I'd never want to rewatch it. I watched it once. I know what it is. I'm good. I don't need to go revisit the universe. You know, just me, just taste wise. Wow, it's 54 minutes. Well, I just, like I said, didn't really have a topic. I was just kind of chatting. Let me say this though, and then we can still look at comments and everything as we go through. But I was watching kind of movies that just felt like Halloween to me, kind of going back to my childhood. And one movie I rediscovered, I saw it and I was like, I can't believe I hadn't thought about that movie in so long, because I loved this movie as a kid. And I'm actually curious to see if any of you guys have heard of this movie or seen of this movie. Lady in White. It was like 86 or 87, The Lady in White. I loved that movie as a kid. It you know, obviously an 80s movie, but it was set in the early 60s, like 62 or 63 or something like that. And it had all of these elements. It's kind of like if you told AI to like, you know, hey, put together all of the cool elements that people like of 80s movies and spit out a script. It's almost like the AI would spit this script out because it had all these cool little elements. Lady in White, it had some Stephen King-ish elements back when Stephen King stuff was actually interesting. You know, Stephen King, like 90% of his main characters are also horror writers and also going back and thinking about their childhood or whatever, you know, but you got that element to it. I told Sound Engraver, it's kind of like Something Wicked This Way Comes crossed with To Kill a Mockingbird. As weird as that sounds, that's kind of what it is. It starts out at Halloween and it ends at Christmas. So it's a really cool holiday. It's a ghost story. It's also a coming of age story. It's a story that, you know, kids can watch. You know, it's a fun, like, you know, it could be a family movie, but it's spooky. I mean, not like horror spooky, but you know, as a kid, it terrified me. You know, because it has the woman. I can't remember the actress's name, but the redhead from Who's the Boss back in the day. She plays this character, and she's so creepy looking. Even as a kid, I knew that was so and so from Who's the Boss, but it still didn't matter. She was just creepy looking. But yeah, it's not a horror at all. It's just a ghost. It's everything that a really good ghost story should be. And and I love it for that. And it's got a good family, relationships and messaging to it too. It really great atmospheric film. It's set in it's a town in is it a town in Maine? It's some New England town there, I think. And man, I just loved it. I watched it again and I was like, man, I'm just so glad I rediscovered this film because it's so great. Studio Soups in today's here. Lady in White? Why she gotta be white? Well, there is the Lady in Black, which was like an old was it an old Hammer horror movie? I know they did the remake with Daniel Radcliffe. I never saw the remake. But yeah. So when it comes to those kind of like I've heard people call them cozy Halloween movies. I don't know. I don't really like that word cozy because that implies like it's, here's the Care Bears Halloween special, or something like that. And that's not what I'm talking about. But I do get why people might call them cozy in the sense that they're not really horror movies, like Ernest Scared Stupid. Forever going to watch that at Halloween time. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. I love it. Lady in White, like I said, something like Monster Squad, though it technically doesn't take place around Halloween. Just love that kind of stuff where you get the vibes. You get, the original Hocus Pocus, for example, another great one like that. It's really fun. So I'm trying to watch some movies like that now just to kind of have some fun here and maybe watch some more. There is WNUF Halloween special. I have not seen this yet. It looks really, really cool to me. So I think I'm going to watch that on Halloween night because after we take Alyssa trick-or-treating, we usually get some pizza. And once Alyssa's tucked in bed, I have to stay near where she sleeps because she could get up and just wander out of the house, So I stay around and I'll just put my headphones in and watch TV. And I might watch that movie then because the premise looks great to me. It's like an old 80s, and many of you have seen it. Probably most of you have seen it. I know I would have seen it by now, but Fan Man's the one to blame for this because he watched it and he hated it. And he told Big Al and I how much he hated it. And it was all, I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just skip that then because it's a problem. And then like this year, like a couple months ago, he's like, have you guys seen WNUF? Man, it's so great. I'm like, you said you hated that. He goes, well, that was the first time I watched it. I watched it again and then I realized I liked it. I'm like, make up your mind, Waldorf. so I'm excited about watching it again now. It was an old 80s local television station, Halloween night, and commercials and everything I think are part of it. It's like you're watching, and I grew up in an area with a little local affiliate NBC station, and you got that, the local news station look. And but they're also like as part of their Halloween special, there's ghost hunters in this house, and they're like live broadcasting their investigation or something like that. So it's I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know much more about it than that, but I think that might be my actual Halloween night viewing. I also have I bought the I forget what it's called, the proper name, but it's the first Elvira movie that she did as the made for TV movie, the Halloween special. Not like her horror hosting, but where she like inherits this mansion or whatever in the small town. I remember loving that as a kid, even though Cassandra Peterson is, total, off the edge of politics now and everything like that as well. She's not gonna take away from me the good stuff that I love that she did as a kid. And that movie was that always felt like Halloween too. So probably gonna watch that at some point. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm watching now. But Lady in White's an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, really should. I just watched it again recently. So I need to watch it again and really kind of think about to do an in-depth review or something like that. But if you just want a recommendation, again, it's a great holiday movie. You don't have to watch it before Halloween because it starts at Halloween. So it's a great Halloween movie, but it takes place between Halloween and Christmas. And it's set in, like I said, 62, 63. So it's very classic. I mean, it's like, when schools still had Halloween parties and Christmas was still decorated everywhere, in the plaza or the downtown, whatever. It's got that small town feel. Again, as silly as it sounds, it really does feel like something So Wicked This Way Comes crossed with To Kill a Mockingbird. So it was pretty fun. All right. Mistress of the Dark. Yeah, that's what it was. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. She's done a couple of those movies. Yeah. All right. That is my my hour mark. And let's see. Samus probably said, if I had a nickel every time I've seen a spooky movie for Halloween season that turned out to be a Christmas movie, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Yeah, I'm sure there are more of them out there than that. But I like that. I like a movie that can kind of branch the Halloween. And Halloween and Christmas, obviously, two very divergent holidays in the sense that one is about peace and love and all of that, and Halloween's for spooky stuff. But thematically, they're pretty linked. I mean, it used to be a tradition to tell ghost stories at Christmas time. And I think that can go back. It can have some pagan roots, but it can also just in Christianity go back to the idea of, I mean, in the early Catholic days, the idea of a ghost coming back and haunting or being around the earth was a ghost in purgatory that still needed help moving on. So that kind of idea. But Halloween, from the sense of wonder and adventure, plays perfectly. I mean, think about it as a kid. What more two magical times are there as a kid than Halloween and Christmas? That's like the be all and end all of it for a kid's life, culturally anyway, or at least it was when I was a kid. Probably not nowadays. Everybody's tearing down culture, but anyway. Surprised not more of you guys were talking about the WNUF Halloween special. Maybe that's something that hasn't made it around as much as I thought it would. But yeah. Junteku, the Enigma, said, hey, thank you for the super chat. First of all, said, hey, what are your thoughts on Smallville? As a Superman fan, what were your thoughts on No Glasses Clark Kent for most of the series and the Lois Lane inclusion so early in the story? So my thoughts about Smallville, in general, had a lot of fun with it. Really liked it. Loved the little mini love letters they would make to the Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner movies. But what you have to understand as you watch Smallville is that first and foremost, this was a WB teeny bopper melodrama. This was one of those little like soap operas made for teenagers or young adults to get them kind of coming back. So it's going to be over the top melodramatic. I have no problem with an idea of let's tell the story of Clark as he's getting his powers on Earth, as the sun is empowering him or whatever. I got no problem with that aspect. But yeah, they did a lot of stupid moves. Lois brought in way too early. The series outlived its rules for itself to be Smallville. No tights, no flights. Well, I'm sorry, but once you get him to Metropolis, once he's freaking working at the Daily Planet, once he's already dating Lois Lane, give him some freaking tights and let him fly. He's Superman at that point, So like looking back on it, there's so much good stuff in the show. And I'm not a Smallville hater. I would just, if you just ask me casually, I'd say, oh, I love Smallville. But yeah, there were a lot of problems with the storytelling. And I think that was just mainly because it was mainly concerned about being sort of the teeny bopper melodrama. But I think you had people that really loved the Superman mythos. And you could tell that by all the little nods and winks. I thought the casting was freaking amazing. John Snyder, he just is Jonathan Kent to me now. I mean, he can't even think of better casting. Marina Toole was a great as Martha Kent. Tom Welling was just, I mean, talk about a guy just to step into being Superman for so many people. That was great. So yeah, no, I overall liked it, but yeah, I concur about a lot of the issues it had. Definitely. I wouldn't say I give it a pass, but I don't make a stink of it because I know what genre it is, if that makes sense. Studio Soup said, just be thankful they didn't make a musical out of it, like the Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, Smallville Turn Off the Clark. I loved what's his name as Green Arrow in. They should have brought Batman in at some point. They tried to, but it was Nolan. Nobody can touch Batman except for me. So. All right. So I think I'm maxed out for the night. Had a great stream though. Appreciate it. I was kind of thinking, I always do this. I always think, am I even really going to be able to fill the stream tonight? Because I don't really have big topics, but then we get to chatting and going back and forth. So yeah, it was a great time. But hopefully you guys are going to enjoy the last week of spooky season that we have here, last week before Halloween. Hopefully you got some good plans for Halloween, even if it's just, hanging out, watching some movies on your own, watching some Halloween films and giving candy out to trick-or-treaters. Hey, that's a great way to spend Halloween. No judgment here. I love that kind of stuff. So, but if you have kids in your life, you're going to go take trick-or-treating. That's always fun. and our people do their parties or whatever. One more movie I was going to mention in terms of those like cozy kind of Halloween movies was the old TV movie in the 80s. You can watch it on YouTube called The Midnight Hour. Love that movie. Look up The Midnight Hour. It was a made-for-TV film, 80s. It's like Lady in White. It's nothing like Lady in White in terms of, this is more like a teenager movie. But it's like Lady in the White in that it just kind of takes a bunch of the ingredients of things you love about 80s movies, especially like an 80s Halloween movie, and throws them all together. It's a lot of fun. So, yep, that's another one. All right, I'm off now, but thank you guys for hanging out. It was a lot of fun as always. I don't think I've missed anybody's super chats or anything, so I think we're good there. But until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the true blue, say monster stories, because I'm still in spooky season, that you love. Thanks for watching.